SATV's Gulshan studio. There is so many updates that I want to share with our viewers as well as my panel. Let us get started with the panel. Here in the studio, I have Major Dr. Nasiruddin Ahmed. He's of course a military analyst and a columnist on various geopolitical affairs. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside, I will have Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical analyst all the way from Washington, D.C. Really, the news today only states some of the events of just a few weeks ago in the NATO summit that was held in Ankara, Turkey. And of course, the major news outlets from all over the globe is now suspecting Donald Trump. What the news suggests is that Donald Trump had switched his planes while leaving the nation, the Turkey, and he had made a stop in UK before coming back into mainland US. The Secret Service had ordered this kind of switch according to the latest news found regarding this matter. Of course, there were some memos that linked that there could be a possible suspected assassination attempt on a foreign nation on the president of the US, and that is what I want to discuss beginning in the studio with Dr. Nasir. This news is very, of course, it tarnishes the image of the US President Donald Trump as well as the administration. They were in a NATO country, Turkey. How do you see this kind of news coming up?
Thank you, Banto, and warm greetings to my dear viewers and co-panelists from Washington. It is widely known as a legacy. Air Force One is the official aircraft of the US President, and a famous movie, Air Force One title, also made it very special in the heart and mind of the world community. So it is always expected that Air Force One will carry the US President, which has a lot of security devices and official gears and gadgets, so that he remains active during his travel time also. So that was the scenario. And on the other hand, NATO summit this time, whether Donald Trump will be joining or not, that was also in question, because he openly criticized the role of NATO in connection with the war between Ukraine and Russia. Since NATO could not get united against Russia for officially taking action, and thereby Donald Trump was very annoyed with many of the countries of the NATO, and also some of the NATO's countries did not give response to his appeal for strict action against Iran. So this time NATO summit was not very significant in the eyes of many of the researchers and columnists, because Donald Trump himself is very much annoyed, and he has said that NATO is no more effective. Since NATO countries are not united, they are divided, they cannot take any serious action as per the choice of the USA, where USA is giving maximum donation, and in the eyes of Donald Trump and administration of the Washington, they are doing maximum for the protection of NATO countries. For they have their deployment, their expenses are diverted significantly for the safety and security of the NATO countries. But when the USA is calling NATO countries to come beside him, stand beside the country, or like USA to fight against Iran and support Ukraine against Russia, NATO did not respond in a very positive way. So that was the dilemma. But this particular news, which came just yesterday, it happened before 3 to 4 weeks, I believe, but it was kept hidden. It did not came up. Two newspapers, New York Times and probably another newspaper, I just forgot the name. So that Washington Post.
Post, okay.
These two newspapers combinedly leaked it out that US President officially he boarded onto the A1 with the journalist accompanying him, and many of the Washington officials who were accompanying the president, they were also boarded on that particular Air Force One, and they were not given the information that president in fact is going down or is not boarding onto that particular aircraft for traveling back to the USA. Rather, in a catering van, he came out and he boarded onto another goods carrying A32 or something like that, a cargo aircraft, and did not come straight away to USA, rather he landed in UK.
Of course.
So this sort of action really implies that how much Iran has put its threat onto the American mind, and especially the mighty president like Donald Trump. And previously he said, I'm the number one target of Iran,
Right.
especially during this summit, NATO summit in Turkey, I will be the number one target. So he was knowing it fully well, but he gave a camouflage that I go by the instructions or the suggestion of the military and the intelligence people. So they suggested me and I had to follow that. Thereby I went to another aircraft. But this single incident probably indicates that war is no more confined within the might of the US power or the US military. It has totally shaken up the US confidence, and especially the intelligence people and the military people are counting Iran and its allies, Houthi and other proxy forces, as far as security of the US people are concerned, including
Definitely.
the US president himself.
Right. Excellent statements coming from Dr. Nasir, really summing up the situation we see. Much of the information that came out of last month's NATO summit is now being furnished by himself, the US President Donald Trump. He confirmed yesterday that the Secret Service and military directed him to use a different plane, and hence information and how it is being used to the betterment. His remarks came when asked about a report in the Washington Post that he secretly switched aircraft after initially appearing to board Air Force One in Ankara. I want to go on towards Norman Floyd Barnes. This is an update that's coming out by the president himself. He felt the threat, and of course the Secret Service was involved, and much of it is once again relating back to Iran. Donald Trump is also claiming that he controls and the US control Iranian money and has total control of the Strait of Hormuz, and he says he does not trust Iran. Just to pass it on to you, a very good morning to you, Norman. I want to see how you feel about these very lines we just uttered regarding Donald Trump and, of course, his foreign visits. Norman.
Good morning. Yes, we're talking about, I guess, this past incident with the president changing the planes on the instruction by the Secret Service. The Secret Service get credible information all the time about threats on the president. So the exchange of planes, being that there was a new plane, the Secret Service felt that they was more comfortable with the original plane versus trying to utilize a new, unknown, untested plane. So that was a part of their routine. They change planes all the time. People don't realize that there's several Air Force Ones, and the planes are interchangeable. Sometimes you can go on one and come back on another, but it's still called Air Force One. Air Force One basically means the plane that the president is presently on. So it could mean anything, any type of planes that he's on, not just the his newest and latest addition to his site. We Now waking up this morning here in Washington, and we understanding that the Red Sea is getting hot again.
Right.
The Houthis attacked, this time kill several crew members with missiles, and it appears that the one civil war is about to ignite again in that region with the governments. So again, because of the tensions in this region, you're seeing new flames come back up in the region. And I do not think it's going to end by signing or agreeing to closing the Strait of Hormuz. I think it's now we've been in this too long, and the process going on that other things, other tensions in the region is now going to have an opportunity to fly up and move forward. So we go from one fire to the next fire to a bigger fire. So here we are once again, waiting to see exactly for something new to happen. And what's happening is now the neighborhood, the area, the other people now picking up on the activities, other things are happening in the region. and it's all part of a process to basically to influence the United States to change its mind, get out the region. Basically, they want them out the region, but they want to change their mind, and they want to change their mind through the impact they're having on the different countries in the Gulf states. The Gulf states will have to make a decision on how they want to move forward on this. Yes, the United States is mighty powerful, and some people say great. However, but the greatness is going to have to come from the people and the countries in the region, and they're going to have to make a consensus on exactly how they're going to coexist. Meaning, I'm saying they're going to have to be able to find a way to get along and live because we'll be doing this for the next 100 years, if not a decision made by the trusted officials in the areas to basically get back to a sense of normalcy, a calmness period where people can work, people can make money, and we don't have this constant pressure of the next attack, what's going on. So as long as the feeling now, as long as the United States has a pronounced presence in the region and Israel is doing what they do, you will still have this tension, this type of conflict, this type of many wars, this proxy wars. All these things are basically sending a strong message that we don't want the U.S. and its Western allies to have a strong presence in this region, and we can do it ourselves. So it will have to come down to the countries. The countries going to have to make a decision: do they want to self-govern or do they want to be serve as a proxy for other countries?
Right. As I make of Norman Floyd Barnes' statement, excellent recap of the events happening in the Middle East, especially as we also understood Air Force One terminology from Norman Floyd Barnes. Really, there has been an incident in the Bab el Mandeb Strait I want to discuss here in the studio with Dr. Nasser. A non-combatant vessel in the Red Sea was attacked by the Houthi, and it belongs to Pakistan, unfortunately speaking, and it is of course a violation of international law. 3 Pakistanis among 6 were killed in the attack just yesterday. Pakistan came onto their national television to strongly condemn the Houthi attack. Mohsin Naqvi of the Pakistani administration is in Tehran to discuss all of these issues. Once again, this is a movement that we see even after having a pact between Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. This kind of attacking a non-combatant commercial vessel, this is crippling the economy. Not only so, there is talks of high-level changes inside the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The commander is now Mohsen Rezai, is because he is the one who was looking after the Iran-Iraq war back in the day. So 6 top appointments have been changing. It really signals Iran's determination in controlling the Strait of Hormuz. A new battle team ready to fight along the same lines as the US. How do you understand this kind of developments?
Okay, I go one by one. First of all, regarding the Bab el Mandeb Strait, it's really alarming for Bangladesh as well, because just few days back there had been an announcement from the Saudi media first, then followed by the Bangladeshi media and our foreign ministry, that Saudi Arabia called for a naval block to keep the Strait of Mandeb safe.
Right.
And for that reason, they called for more than 50 countries, and probably 43 countries turned up.
Right.
And the European Union also joined, their representative also joined. Those are having already a establishment there. And out of these 40 or 40 plus countries, 14 countries including Saudi Arabia and Bangladesh agreed to form the naval bloc to keep it safe. And Pakistan, which the ship you said that it was bearing the flag of a Pakistan cargo vessel. Right. That came under fire from the Houthis, and that is alarming for the whole 14 countries who are joining the naval blockade. Probably this is a signal from the Houthis, and Houthis backed by Iran, and Iran backed by Russia and China. Then don't go for further. Don't make it accelerate it anymore. Whatever has happened in Middle East, keep it within the Middle East, within this particular region, that is the Strait of Hormuz. If you want to open another front, we are also ready to take it on. Now do you see this, any ship bearing the flag of this particular 14 countries definitely will be under serious threat and pressure. Insurance policy and insurance rate will go very high. Transportation cost will go very, very high. A single strike by the Houthis onto the non-commercial ship of or vessel of Pakistan, it signifies a lot to the economy, to the world peace, and to many other sectors really. And Bangladesh should now again review its decision whether it is to join this particular. Bangladesh is in a very tricky condition. I have written in a recent article published just day before yesterday. Bangladesh has a huge labor market in Russia and dependent, in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia also supports her in terms of energy. Again, Saudi Arabia is backed by USA, and USA definitely wants that Bangladesh should join this naval bloc. That Bangladesh has no choice, in fact, because US already has imposed significant amount of tariff onto Bangladeshi goods, and many other pressure is on Bangladesh side. So Bangladesh had no choice to go against Saudi Arabia's desire or the American desire. At the same time, Iran has a good relation with Bangladesh till now. If Iran takes it in other way, that you are going in front in favor of the Saudi Arabia, responding to the Saudi Arabian American call, means you are going against my interest, against myself. So that is a threat, number one. Number two, within Bangladesh, we have lot of sympathizers for Iran and especially for Ayatollah Khomeini. Again, anti-sentiment against Israel. So going in favor of Saudi Arabia or going against Iran means going in favor of Israel. So within Bangladesh, there could be another issue that coming up, that Bangladesh going to support Saudi Arabia going against Iran means it is supporting Israel, and again a new dimension of our own political and labor market and overall export-import issue will come under serious threat and question. So single strike by Houthis on Pakistani non-commercial vessel means a lot to us also.
Definitely, increasingly important statements made by Dr. Nasir. Really, to recap this segment, and before I can go on a break, there is an old saying that says, an eye for an eye will make the entire world blind. That is very definitive when it comes to these kind of terms, when both leaders and multiple leaders across the world are in confrontation mode. With that being stated, it's time for a short commercial break. Do stay tuned for more on this very. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panto.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks,
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panto.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan.
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on
Affairs here in the studio. I'm joined with Dr. Nasiruddin Ahmed as well as Norman Floyd Barnes, all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. The next question I want to ask Norman, the preparations, ceasefire, hostilities, all of these words, this terminology really defines how we live our lives today. As I was reading out earlier on, that there has been some significant changes in the country's, in Iran's top military leadership. Almost 6 commanders have been given new roles in the armed forces, the Revolutionary Guard Corps, and of course the secret service, the Basij forces. Major General Ali Abdullahi has been named the Chief of Staff of the Iran Armed Forces, and Major General Ahmed Vahidi has been appointed Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, all of which really signals to more of a strategic confrontation mode when it comes from Iran. As well, we see General Dan Kane of the U.S. He's, of course, the topmost ranking officer in the U.S. military. Obviously, he reports back to U.S. President Donald Trump. This kind of developments, this kind of news really signals that more confrontation is left before the end of the year. Just want to ask you, Norman, how you feel about this kind of developments, especially when the news is, when the information comes out that there has been appointments made on both of the sides, really signals confrontation is definitely going to be there, or at least going to be a part of it, as leaders do not and still are far away from the dialogue table. I want to ask you how you feel about this kind of developments, Norman.
Yes, this is a strong indicator that the, particularly from Iran, that they are prepared for the long run. They are changing. They're basically upgrading their initial plan for one of being a totally basically a defensive type of mode and a basically a respond to basically what is anticipating to come on. The change now, I believe, particularly with the Red Sea situation, is now coming together more of a regional strategy on exactly how they're going to take the war to the United States and their Western allies. So the strategy is going to basically be more intensified. It will be more, you'll see, anticipate to see more type of military and counterintelligence type of situations attack. You got to remember they are very well trained on how to do cyber attacks. So I suspect the next stage is going to be on infrastructures, technology wise, and also influencing and impacting the neighboring countries that do not fall in line with them. They will now feel the pressure internally. So I suspect you're going to see more incidents, more infrastructure breakdowns, communications issues, and more fear, unfortunately, more fear that Iran can reach other parts of the world. And you're probably going to see some type of activity in the Western world regarding this war. And so right now, Iran has basically stated that they are now ready to fight in a different manner, but we're now ready to engage. And we feel like that we have the ability to basically go toe to toe with you and see how long you can last. But they are prepared to continue this war, and they just basically changing the head roles, and they're using a different strategy, a different approach, a what we call a refresh, a new plan, and other technologies and other type of scenarios would now be coming in place. More unconventional activities I anticipate to happen, but there will be impact across the globe regarding this war. It's not just a regional Strait of Hormuz type of situation. It's now going to reach Europe and other parts of the Western world. So that's my take on this. So this thing is expanding.
Right, and definitely that was excellent from Norman Floyd Barnes. It is expanding, and we are also seeing, as we look at the news almost every day, we try to draw the patterns, try to connect the dots. Even in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have seen a Ukrainian strike, a drone strike, according to various media reports, on an Iranian ship that would only signal further militarization of the Caspian Sea, northern of Iran. And that is where the next topic will lead us, Ukraine and Russia. So it is no longer in just one mode of conflict, one location. It is spanning, and that is very serious to understand. We have 4 months left of the year, and this year has been marred with violence from across the world. We see that news is coming out that Zelensky is giving proposals to US for helping to end the war, while accusing Russia of using munitions from North Korea. So that is also an impending munitions crisis across various locations, even as in the US, even though they will not admit to such munition numbers. But definitely there are some patterns in that kind of situation. Asking Dr. Nasir, how you see Ukraine-Russia, one has been accusing another of such of a claim.
Okay. Before answering you this question, with your permission, I'd like to add
Please.
a little point on the previous question you asked to
Please.
David Norman. The changing of top-ranking military leaders. It reminds me an incident of Arab-Israel war back in 1973. I can remember this is a very interesting topic for the military people, that Arab-Israel war. On 6th of October, Egyptian forces crossed the Suez Canal to attack onto the Israelis. Just prior to that final attack, that was probably very close to the Eid festival, Eid al-Azha, and also the pilgrimage, Muslims' most significant incident. All military, almost all military top-ranking officers were sent on pilgrimage. They were given leave, they went to pilgrimage, and that was the indication probably that war will not probably take a very sharp turn, or very extensive war will be carried out, at least on this period when the top level senior military leaders has gone for pilgrimage. But in fact, the second line commanders, they were prepared to launch this particular war. So that reminds me that Iran probably has already piled up their second tier of the leaders, and they had been trained for days together to go for some offensive somewhere. And thereby the military, whenever there is a top-ranking military officers, one or two is always a normal incident because of the health issues, because of the many other constraints, there could be changes. But if there is a series of changes in the top ranking, that means this is also a strategy of the military people that they are going to do something. That was a little point I had to add with the previous part.
No worries.
Yes.
Okay. And the second part, as you have said, we all know North Korea as a closed country. They don't have diplomatic relations with many of the countries, almost with none of the countries. It is a self-reliant country. They want to be within themselves. They don't want to take help from anyone, and they don't want to also help others. But whenever they feel threat onto them, they will not keep any stone unturned to take their revenge. And that's why the whole world, even the US president is also afraid of this North Korean president. He could pick up the president of Venezuela, but never ever he will dare to go to North Korea to pick up the North Korean president. So that is the strength of North Korea. Russia being a very mighty power militarily and also a world economy, whatever you say. So it's a very mighty power in the world. But unfortunately, this war against Ukraine has bleeded Russia so severely. Now, Zelensky rightly said, Russia no more can strike onto the Ukraine side without replenishment of ammunition and especially the drones from the country like North Korea. Russia had to beg to North Korea for the drones. That is the situation now in Russia. So that indicates that whole world now is facing such a crisis. US also facing this crisis, Russia also facing this crisis, but silently China is building up its military capacity, is not expanding that much. That is an indication that next world order will be as per the choice of the China. That is one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin is that you see the recent earthquake in Colombia.
Definitely
that
going to pick it up.
Yes, they cannot carry out the rescue operation because they are not equipped. But we are spending so much on military gadgets and gears, or so much on the military armaments, on ammunition and all other military facilities. We are not expanding the capacity of the fire brigade people, rescue people, but we are expanding the military people.
Right.
So that is the indication the world, in fact, is not doing justice to the humanity. It is doing only showing its might, power for strength, for political will. These two particular elections coming up in probably October and November, December, in both in USA and Israel. That is a totally political game. And Netanyahu, how dearly he said, till I'm in power, I'll not stop attacking Iran. Even USA.
Rejecting the Board of Peace as well.
So that is the threat of the world, that for own interest, for own political interest, for own power, people can do and undo anything. That is the really very alarming situation now.
Right. Of course, that's a very interesting take by Dr. Nasir. Well presented the facts and figures, and actually travelating between one crisis to another. We have an update regarding Colombia, duly mentioned by Dr. Nasir as well. The death toll is topping 250 as rescuers race to find survivors. Some of the footage that we've received as well does show the destruction on a different level. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, one of the problems that we faced in Latin America in reporting was that even in Venezuela, the death toll, the numbers, the rescue operation, the initial response, the governmental response, all of this was a bit lacking, and there was multiple storylines we hear in Venezuela. Almost similar situation in Colombia. 86 buildings have been downed due to the nature's destructive force, and only 254 deaths are being reported. I want to get a remark from you, how you see it, especially because today is a very important day. It's 12th August. There will be planetary alignment that would be viewed from multiple northern regions of the world. I want to pass it on to Norman, how you see this kind of devastation and the lack of leaders not allocating enough funds to the rescue operations.
Yes, we have addressed this situation on a global sense in the past. What you're seeing now and what you're going to see in the future is that when these natural incidents happen with nature and human lives, you will continue to see a lax, a very slow, a very methodical, a very unplanned, unscheduled response by the government. So it indicates that there's no actual plan in place to mitigate this or prevent this. All of these situations could have been mitigated by some form of early warning, an early warning system. But because of the lack of funds, the lack of resources, and the lack of understanding that we are having these slow responses, there's not enough emergency management people in place to deal with these type of catastrophic incidents around the world. The countries affected is responding. They always expect other neighboring countries to help out, but because of the current situation in the world, everybody's focused on the internal situation. There's no coordination. There's no planning. There's no communication. Yes, people will send the U.S. people will send stuff as a response to the situation, but remember, we have a 72-hour window once these incidents happen before it starts becoming a recovery situation, that a rescue situation. So without proper planning, without mitigation, without basically moving people prior to these events, you will have this process go over and over again. So we are seeing countries not able to respond, not responding in a manner. Lives are being lost. More lives are being lost for the lack of response or the lack of preparation of the governments than the actual incidents itself. So here we go again, another planned, unplanned type of situation where the governments do not feel that they should invest their time into first response, mitigating and protecting human lives. They will prefer to basically use their resources to come in and do a recovery and try to rebuild versus trying to prevent.
Right. As Norman was trying to explain the situation of the lack of resources pointed to such a crisis, it really opens up to show that we are really unplanned in the next global disaster. Of course, this time around in Colombia, the new president only took seat last Friday, and 3 days onwards he has to deal and he has to know how to establish order, command the services in that nation in order to defeat such a crisis. Of course, there are more news that is going to be taking place regarding how we can prevent this kind of crisis. But right after a short commercial break, requesting everyone and our viewers to stay tuned for more on this weighing program.
TV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution.
Last segment of International Affairs, really what we were looking at was repercussions from nature's disasters, natural disasters that humans do not have any control over, as Norman was stating regarding Colombia's earthquake. I want to move on to Dr. Nasir in the studio. Just to ask you, earthquakes we see this year to be a landmine of earthquakes. That's because over 10 earthquakes have happened in the magnitude of 7 and above, all around the regions of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Not only so, we see devastating typhoons all the way in China, prompting over 1 million evacuations. The nature really has taken a toll on this year. Wildfires have been taking control of places in Europe. And it really seems that it's not just a war in the Middle East, but it's also a war-like devastating scenario in nature when we talk about all of these issues. How you feel about it? Are we ready for the next big disaster? Here in Bangladesh, we are a country of 200 million people. A really scary reality when we realize how close we are to the Himalayan range and, of course, the world's highest peak. One can definitely assume some kind of seismic event may occur now or maybe even 100 years from now, but definitely will be there. How you feel about all of this coming together?
Okay, it's very alarming, definitely it's very alarming. And regarding the natural calamities, especially the earthquake, there are two issues. Number one is that there are some reasons which aggravates the possibility of earthquake. Once you know they are in a danger zone, using the water from the surface, that also comes as a protective measures, that you don't use too much of water, extract too much of water from the under the ground, and that is one of the reasons for such earthquake and so, number one. But number two and most important is the precautionary measures, especially once you make the hospitals, firefighting people's that their shelters and their buildings and government buildings. You should be very children's school and hostels. You will be very particular regarding the protocols that dictates the design of the building, which can sustain the earthquake of certain magnitude. But in Bangladesh, unfortunately, we have not done so, number one. Number two, as I can clearly remember, that Japan government or the JICA had significant donation to Bangladesh they given just to identify which are the buildings are too much prone to be destroyed during a simple earthquake, and that was done. But that study only done, but identification also done, but none of the buildings have been replaced as on now. Just before probably 2 weeks, our Honorable Prime Minister and the First Lady, Dr. Zubaida Rahman, they visited Dhaka Medical College Hospital and that entire complex. And surprisingly, one news came up that some of the buildings are so old, even 100 years old. 100 years old building are also there in Dhaka Medical College premises, where they still our patients are taking treatment, doctors are taking shelters. Even the doctor's hostel is in very, very messy condition. That is the practical scenario of Bangladesh. But we are developing, we are purchasing submarine, we are thinking of sending the rockets, rocket launching pads. We are already sent our satellite in the orbit. So all significant movements are going on. Bridges are coming up, or the bridge has already come up. Some other bridges will come up. But who will rescue the patients of Dhaka Medical College in case of any earthquake? Where from the firefighters will come up? What is the strength of that particular building? Whether they will be killed first. This firefighting rescue operations, the serving people, they will be killed first.
No, the fire department definitely say that how are we supposed to serve the people, especially when our buildings might be at risk?
Under attack, number one. Number two, the second line force is the soldiers and the police people. What about their barracks? Is that designed or constructed as per the protocol of facing any natural disaster? We have our two significant dam. One is in Kaptai, another is in Farakka. What is the study? We have come to know. It did not come in front of the people.
Right.
What will be the condition of those two dams? Many other, and more significantly, we have recently constructed the atomic electricity generation facilities.
Nuclear facilities
in Ruppur. So a single earthquake in Ruppur, and if that is not constructed as per the protocol of the disaster management, that is going to play havoc with us. So Bangladesh gradually is going being threatened more prone to the earthquake disasters. But our preparation, especially the equipping the firefighters, our soldiers, and also our police forces, those will be the backbone of rescue operations. They are not being taken care of. That is very alarming.
Right. Thanking Major Dr. Nasiruddin Ahmed. Excellent statements regarding how we are not yet prepared for any kind of natural disaster that may be upon us. I thank you for joining us on this program on international affairs with your valuable insights. Also thanking Norman Floyd Barnes for joining all the way from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to finish today's program by stating an event taking place today, which is 12th of August 2026. A rare six-planet alignment features Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Uranus, Saturn and Neptune stretching across the pre-dawn sky. This planetary parade coincides with the solar eclipse and the peak of the Perseid meteor shower, creating a multi-event astronomical day. It will be visible from many nations in the north as well as parts of Europe. Unfortunately, at that very time, here in Bangladesh, it will be in the middle of the night. Hence, we will not be seeing this kind of event. However, with that being stated, it is time to finish the program. I shall be with you all on tomorrow's installation.